So I'm about to secure this wire shelving unit in the back of my truck bed here using these new Ratchet straps. These are from Juggernaut Designs. These are their ultimate retractable ratcheting straps. They mount to your truck bed so you don't have to fumble for them. And I want to know, can I secure this larger shelving unit? Will these reach all the way across? So stay tuned. Now, like I said, guys, this product is from Juggernaut Designs. And to say that this product is designed well, I think that would be an understatement. Really, the individual or team of people that designed this, I really think they thought of just about everything on this product. And it's really in the details. And so I'm going to show you all of that in today's video. But it solves the problem, essentially, of being able to efficiently and easily secure items in your truck bed without all of the hassle that ratchet straps normally involve. So how about we start with the install details? And by the way, guys, I'm installing this on my 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 HD. It has the 6'9" bed. So the kit you're seeing is basically compatible with all the late model GM trucks. If you don't have a GM truck, I have good news for you. They do make similar kits for just about all the modern trucks, including Ford's F-Series, the Ram trucks, even some Toyotas. So with that, let me show you what you get with the GM version. Now, each of the kits comes in its own box, just like this one here. And so if you order a quantity of 2, you're gonna get 2 boxes, just like I've got right here. Let me show you what's inside each box. You've got a nice card with a QR code, and you can use that for install instructions. I'm gonna show you all that here in just a minute. And you've got a bag of hardware. I'll give you a close-up of that here as well. And this really surprised me. Check this out. You've got a little, almost like a weather boot that you can put around the Ratchet to protect if you don't have a tonneau cover covering it. And then, of course, you get the actual Ratchet strap itself. I've got everything laid out right here. 2 kits, one over here and one over here. So let me give you some close-ups of everything so you can see what you all get in this kit. Here's a close-up of the hardware. So again, we have one full set of hardware right here and another full set right here. But basically, you've got this split nut, and that's going to go behind the existing tie-down points. And then you've got 2 screws that are going to go into both of those with a washer. This is going to be a 3/16 Allen key. And so I'm going to be using this one right here as well as a hand one. You just want to be really careful if you're using something that's, power, that you've got the clutch set really low so you don't, spin out the screws and strip the threads inside there. So I'm going to be real careful with that, but I also do have a hand one as well to tighten it up and make sure everything is secured properly. Now I'm going to dry fit them and just show you how everything fastens. It's really a unique design because there's no modification going on to the truck. I mean, it's just using these existing anchor points that are already built in. So I'm going to use the top 2 anchor points right here. And you can see even this groove is shaped into the mounting bracket right here. So it conforms perfectly to the bed. But basically, I'm going to take one of these split nuts and it's going to go behind each one of these mounting points. And then the screw will go into each of those holes, 1 and 2 on the bottom, and again, 1 and 2 on the top. And that's what's going to clamp it down. So we're basically just using the anchor points to mount the new ratchet straps. Now, to make the install easier and so that I don't run out of hands, I'm going to pre-install one of the screws into each of these split nuts ahead of time. I'm going to do the top hole right here. This is the top of the bracket where it says Made in USA. And so I'm going to install the screw at the top right there and then just get it started and thread it into that split nut behind. And you'll see what I'm talking about. And that way it'll kind of hook onto the existing mounting points. Do the same thing down on the bottom here and just do a couple turns so that it's all nice and secure. There we go. And that way you can kind of see on the back, you've got now 2 almost like hooks that will hook onto those existing mounting points. I'm going to install the passenger side first right here. And I've got this clip, this bracket up here from my tonneau cover. It looks like it's going to be a tight fit. Let's see if I can get it in there. There we go. Wasn't too bad. And then I'm going to get the bottom one in as well. A little bit of finagling, but there we go. Okay, so I got them in, so I didn't even have to loosen up the bracket from the tonneau cover. And then I'm going to take my other screw right there and kind of thread it into that split nut. And then once I've got them all started there, I'm going to slowly tighten them down kind of evenly on all of them. And again, I've got the clutch set to a really low setting here just to make sure I'm not cross-threading anything. And then before I tighten everything down, might have gone a little too tight right there, I'm just going to make sure that it's all nice and centered up. Now the powered screwdriver might be faster in terms of just getting them snugged up, but I'm finding once they're snugged up, you really want to do it by hand so you can feel and kind of get everything centered up nicely. And so I'm just using right here, and again, it's a 3/16 inch Allen head. I'm just getting all these snugged up, making sure it's nice and centered where I want it. Kind of just taking turns and going to each one. And then I'm simply going to repeat the same steps over here on the driver's side. I've got that same tonneau cover bracket, so hopefully I can get it in without having to remove it. If not, no problem. It's just a single bolt up there. But, all right, I got the top one started. Let's see if I can get the bottom one in there as well. There, okay, yeah, not too bad. So, I mean, no big deal if I had to loosen up that bracket there, but it seems to go in just fine. And so then I'm going to come back and get the lower screw threaded into the nut. All right, so I got both of them installed. Let me just give you a couple tips that I learned in the process of doing both of them. First up, the powered screwdriver is nice. It's sped things up a little bit, but it's really not necessary. I found that, once I snugged them up, I really was doing it by hand, and that allowed me greater control to really feel what was going on. And so what I found is you got to be careful with those split nuts that you're evenly tightening both screws at the same rate. Because if you don't, you can imagine that split nut is going to be kind of, cockeyed behind the mounting plate right here instead of, parallel and nice and even. So if you start to see the screws, not sit flush and tight against the washers, then So on a couple, I just had to back them out just a little bit to make sure that that split nut is being tightened at the same rate on both those screws. So I just took my time, paid attention to those little details. And then as far as how tight, this is not, by the way, recommended, officially by the manufacturer, but it seemed like right around 25 to 30 pound-inches was about what seemed right for me here. That might be a little bit different for you on your install, but basically, snug them up to the point where you're, not causing those split nuts to stress behind there. But the end result here is everything is nice and snugged up and firm. There's no wiggling in the bracket or movement whatsoever, and you can see the screws are nice and flush against those washers. And again, guys, there are no modifications made to the truck. So if I undid those 4 screws, I'd be right back to where I started. So I really like that a lot, that I'm not modifying anything permanently in the bed of my truck. So check out the finished product now. I've got 2 ratchet straps on either side that are always going to be completely ready to use. And they're mounted in the same original points where the tie downs were. And I really like this a lot, how they rotate, because when I'm not using them, they're not protruding into the bed. I would say you get about 90 degrees that you can rotate these. And so when I'm stowing them away like this, especially the way GM has already kind of pushed out the inner walls of the truck bed, they are completely out of the way. So I'm not losing any bed space, and I don't have something, jutting out into my bed that's going to impair loading things. So I really like that a lot. And then I've got the same story, of course, over here. This is what it looks like with the cover that they give you. So if you don't have a tonneau cover and you're concerned about these, weathering over time, well, they give you this nice cover right here. And it even says made in the USA. That's a really nice touch. And that way it covers everything, keeps it out of the elements. And I think what impresses me about this product so much is all the thought that went into the design, especially all the little details. Not only can you pivot it 90 degrees, but you can also rotate the entire ratchet strap 360 degrees. So you can get it just the right angle depending on what you're tying down. It also has a storage spot for the S-hook right there to keep it out of the way. I think that's a nice, thoughtful detail. Here's a close-up of what that S-hook looks like. It's got a little spring on it as well. And then not only that, but they actually provisioned an additional tie down point right here. Because again, remember, we're using up 2 of the original tie down points. Still got another one down here, but it's kind of nice that they actually provisioned and gave you another tie down point right here, since, you know, we kind of lost 2 of them. So they really put a lot of thought in all the details on this product, and I think that's really what makes it so special and unique. Now, I don't know about you, but I want to see these in action and see if they actually make it easier to secure a load. So I've got right here just a sample shelving unit. This is a pretty big one, actually. It's 4 feet tall and then about 16 inches across. I'm curious to see if the straps will go all the way across. The length on them, by the way, is 9 feet. The working load is 400 pounds, and then of course, usually times 3 is your absolute maximum. So I'm gonna see if it'll reach to the factory mounting points up front here. Wow, it's really tight and snug. Let's see if I can get it in here. It's gonna be really close. Yep, got it in on that side. Let's see now if the other side works the same. And you know what I love about this is normally I'd be struggling by myself here or having someone else hold the other straps. I love that this is a one-person job now. Let's see if it'll reach on this side as well. Yep, looks like I'm gonna have enough slack. All right, so I just drew a simple X all the way across the shelving unit, and now I'm gonna go ahead and tighten them down, and it's just as easy as ratcheting the straps. There we go. Same thing on this side over here. All right, that feels nice and firm. So let me hop up here and just see how secure. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, I mean, that worked out really well. And so I'm actually really surprised at only 9 feet long on those straps. It actually works, just barely. So as far as height-wise, if you're securing a load that is, you know, 4 feet tall like that and about 16 inches wide, I would say this is about the max, you know, width and height combination where you don't run out of strap being 9 foot long. And then when you're ready to release the strap, it just has this spring-loaded lever right here that you just bring that down, and that's gonna release the tension right here. But I'll go ahead and tighten it up again and then show you some close-ups of how everything looks, because I'm really impressed. The strap is 1 inch wide, by the way. Got some nice tension right there. And I mean, look at that. It's just the perfect angle coming off of the truck bed. Same story over here. So guys, I'm really impressed. I really think this is an elegant solution to a problem that we all face as truck owners. And it's really nice that it stretches and reaches all the way to the factory front mounting points at 9 foot long. And again, this is a pretty decent size, you know, item to haul in the back of the truck at 4 feet tall and about 16 inches wide. And then don't forget the cleanup. I mean, just how easy it is to undo everything when you're done with the straps. You're not having to wind or coil them up. They just self-retract. And so I really like just how seamless this whole system is. Well guys, let me close out the video by just saying this. You know, I test a lot of different products here on the channel for trucks and RVs, a lot of great products that, you know, solve problems as truck owners and RVers, but very rarely am I just, you know, thoroughly, genuinely impressed by a product. And this is one of those special items that, you know, it solves a problem that we all face as truck owners, and it does it very uniquely. It has a lot of really unique features. It was just a very well thought out product. And so I am genuinely impressed by this product. For those curious, it runs about $100 per ratchet, which might seem kind of high initially, but if you think about it, you know, they're made in the USA and they are just so well designed. So I would argue they are worth every penny and then some. Now guys, if I left any details out on this product or you have any questions about it, definitely drop them below and I'll be glad to answer them. I will also include links down below to purchase them. And as always, thanks for watching.